We're recording. So the recording is now started. For those of you who just joined, my name is Lisa Kilgore. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. Today's presentation is going to be on adrenal fatigue, adrenal burnout, low energy. Because I'm a holistic nutritionist, we'll be spending most of our time with hands-on, here's what you really do to create change and to help your body heal from this. But we need to start with what is really going on? Why are adrenal glands so strained and stressed? What are the symptoms of that? Including, I'm going to go through the questions that I go through with my clients when I'm looking and to see what their adrenal glands are doing and what their level is. And then we're going to be going into the real hands-on steps. We'll be talking about a couple supplements at the end that can be a really, really easy addition to your life that can just really help move things forward. And we're pretty primary in my own healing. I am a holistic nutritionist because I needed to heal myself first. I specialize in digestion because that was my main issue, but also adrenal fatigue is something that I deal with, have dealt with, and I'm always watching my adrenal glands. I am a hot type A adrenaline junkie. And so I tend to live the lifestyle that's very, very hard on my adrenals. And so this is also something that I've worked with myself, and all of the steps that I'm going to give you are things that I've worked into my own lifestyle. And it does make a really, really big difference. And so I'll be telling you a bit more on my story as we go as well. So let's jump in. The whole presentation should take 45 minutes or so. I can get chatty sometimes, so I apologize if it goes a bit long. I'm trying to make it a bit shorter just so we can get into the questions. But then I'll leave plenty of time for questions. And then if you're short on time, then you can say goodbye, and I'll stay on as long as the questions are going. So I want to make sure that all of you get all of the information that you want today. And when we go through how to heal, and I'll repeat this again because it's really, really important, is that when you're really tired and your adrenals are really tired, don't overdo it. Don't try to do everything. Instead, just pick out a few things or even one thing that you can incorporate today. That will make a difference. And then when that's easy, make the next step. Small changes over time is really where real change happens. And so just keep that in mind through the whole presentation. I don't want to overwhelm you with new stuff. So just keep in mind, all you have to do is incorporate one, maybe two little things, and that can make a big difference. So what's really going on right now? Why is adrenal burnout such a problem? It's actually happening at much younger ages than I saw even 10 years ago. I've been working in nutrition and in the industry for about 13 years. And I've noticed over the last 5 years, the age for adrenal burnout has gone from 55, like mid-50s, where your lifestyle is really, really quite busy, where you have kids and elderly parents and you have a lot on your plate, to mid-20s. And 26 is such a prime age for adrenal burnout that every single 26-year-old I grilled to see how their adrenals are doing. And in most cases, their adrenals are really quite tired. And that's very, very young for the adrenals to start having some issues. And one of the main problems, the reason for this is that we are now living in a culture of busy, and the 20-somethings haven't known anything else. We see our worth as being how busy we are, and I fall into this myself. A year ago, if you would have asked me how I'm doing, my answer would have been always, I'm busy, and almost as pride, oh, I'm busy, because we want to feel like we're really accomplishing things, but I've changed that. Now, when you ask me how I'm doing really well. And I don't feel the busy as much. And that's really, really important. Our lifestyle has our phones going off all the time. Our schedules are hectic. And this kind of lifestyle is really, really quite draining. And we're going to look at how that is. Life has really changed. There's been a big change in the last 50 years. There's been a humongous change in the last 10, just with the input of smartphones. That has really changed what our lifestyle is. It used to be, even with computers, you would go to work from 9 till 5 or 6, and then you would go home and you'd go to your family and enjoy your evening. But today it's not that's not the case. We are expected to be tied to our phone. We're expected to be checking email. Most people working in a corporate life are putting in hours after they get home, and they're putting in long days. Their commute to work, if they're commuting by train or subway, involves working on that. Whereas I used to, when I worked in an office, I read on my way to work and my way home. I really see that as quite a blessing that I had this time to unwind. And that really just doesn't exist anymore. Our schedules of our entire family are really, really busy. The middle schedule is actually, I pulled off a website, a mommy website, about what to do during a snow day. That is a schedule. Do you remember being a kid and going out and playing, and that was the only thing you had to do that day? And now that's scheduled from 9:30 to 10:30. It's a different life altogether. It's a different life for our kids. It's a different life for us. And we have so many things that we're juggling. And that is where a lot of problems are happening. And when I talk to people, they'll talk to me about their level of energy, and they'll want to know, what can I do? I spend quite a lot of time in health food stores answering questions, as well as I have a private practice where I see people one-on-one. And this is a question I get over and over and over again. I'm really tired. What can I take? We will be talking about some great supplements at the end, but we have to keep in mind that this is not just one input. You just don't solve a low energy problem by taking something. What we need to do is look at the big picture. So what we're going to do now is spend a few minutes looking at what stress is like in our body, what happens to our body when we're living in this chronic state of stress. And then, with that, you'll get a better picture of why it is that we have such low energy. So we have 3 autonomic nervous systems. And so autonomic is simply the fancy word for automatic. These are nervous systems that function without us thinking about them, without our conscious brain really looking at it. Our central nervous system, what moves our hands and our bodies and our legs, and this is a conscious nervous system. This is something I'm thinking about moving my hand, so my hand moves. These nervous systems we're going to be talking about are something that we don't even pay attention to. So we can know with just a bit of information, I'll show you how you can know which nervous system is running the show. The 3 autonomic nervous systems is the parasympathetic, the sympathetic, and those are the 2 we're going to really spend time on. And then the third one is called the enteric nervous system. And the enteric nervous system lives around our digestive system, and its job is to digest our food. And this is actually where the main part of my research is on how the digestive system and the gut and our gut bacteria affect our brain, affect our immune system, affect inflammation. It's really fascinating. I could spend an hour just talking about that. But the parasympathetic and the sympathetic decide how much energy goes into the enteric nervous system. So they both run the show when it comes to digestion. The reason why we have this special nervous system around our digestive system is that digestion is really quite difficult and complicated, and if our thinky brain was paying attention to extracting nutrients from our food, we wouldn't have the energy or the brain power to have language and art and roads and basically our overall lifestyle. So it's really quite nice that we have this second brain almost in our gut dealing with this. But right now I want to talk about the 2 big guys, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. The first thing to keep in mind is that they're never on at the same time. One or the other is running the show. So we're either in the parasympathetic or we're in the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is a relaxation mode. This is where we rest and digest and our body repairs itself. When we're sleeping, this is in full force. But when we're relaxing, when we're reading, when we're meditating, when anytime we're in a relaxed state, parasympathetic nervous system shines. This is when most of our resources go into healing the body. And so this is where what happens when we're sleeping, but this is also where all the absorption of nutrients comes from. So when our parasympathetic nervous system is running the show, our digestive system is in full force and working beautifully. And our body is doing everything it can to get as many nutrients out of our food, so that way our body can function in the long term. This is also where our metabolism lives. So this is when our body uses energy. This is where we metabolize nutrients and toxins and detoxify, and all the big guys in our body are running when we're in the parasympathetic nervous system. Overall, this is our long-term survival mode, and I'm going to look at that a bit in a couple more minutes. And this is the main gland that runs the show here is our thyroid. So our thyroid, which runs our metabolism, is working at its best in the parasympathetic nervous system. Now we have the sympathetic nervous system. I remember this because the way I remember the difference between the two is that the sympathetic nervous system is very sympathetic to us when we're under stress. So it is what keeps us alive when we're in danger. And that is a really important thing to remember. So our sympathetic nervous system is our survival mode. This is our fight, flight, or freeze. So if we are in a physical danger, say a bear is chasing us, this is what is running the show to keep us alive. All of our resources are allotted to our heart and our limbs. So what the sympathetic nervous system is doing is making sure that we can run away from that bear, we can fight off that bear, or we can freeze really, really tightly. And so all of the energy that would go to our digestive system, which is 60% of our energy when it's working well, is now moving to our limbs and to our heart, so we can deal with this physical danger. Our lungs dilate and our digestion goes down. This is our response to physical danger. Our body doesn't know any different when it comes to the type of danger it is. So this response was created when we were living out in the bush, and we had physical danger on a regular basis. But when we get a stressful email, when we have a stressful conversation, when we're worried about stuff, when we're driving our car, when we're doing things that involve even a mild amount of stress, this is still happening. Our body reacts to emotional stress in exactly the same way as it does to a physical danger. So when you are worried about a presentation that's coming up, or a conversation that you have to have, or you're just worried about things in general, your body is feeling like you are in a physical danger situation. And so all of this is happening at that time. And what your body is doing is keeping you alive right now. Doesn't care about the state of your body a week from now, a month from now, or 10 years from now. Its job is to keep you alive right now. And if you were actually being chased by a bear, that makes some sense. You need to survive this moment. The problem is that we're spending most of our life in that state. We're staying run by the sympathetic nervous system. So instead of our body resting and digesting and repairing and making sure our body is healthy and happy 10 years from now, it is using every resource it can to keep you alive now, right now. So let's look at that if this was our bank account. So in the long-term survival mode, this is like our RSPs. We're putting money away for later. We're making sure that we can retire. We're making sure that our bills can be paid, our mortgage is paid, and that in 10 years or even a month from now, we are in an okay financial situation. If we were living in a sympathetic nervous system mode, that means today is the only day of our life, that tomorrow doesn't exist, and that we can and will spend whatever we have today. As a responsible adult, we would rarely live that way. We want to always be looking ahead. But when we are living in this stressful state, our bodies aren't looking ahead. And this is where a lot of degenerative diseases come from, is the fact that our body is using so many resources and nutrients to keep us alive right now. And this is run by what we're thinking about. We are one of the only animals that sits and worries. If you see a herd of deer and they're running away from a predator, they're in that fight or flight mode. They're in the sympathetic nervous system. But then when they stop, when that danger is gone, they're back eating grass and relaxed. They can let it go and be back in the parasympathetic nervous system. And like every animal, they're really living there all the time in the relaxed state in the parasympathetic nervous system. That's how our body was meant to be. We are meant to live in the relaxed state all the time and only be dealing with the sympathetic nervous system when you need it. But right now we're flipped and we're doing the opposite. So we're draining our body, we're draining our resources, and this is why we're not aging very well. And this is why menopause symptoms are a lot stronger. And we'll look at that in a second as well. This is why our adrenal glands just can't keep up with our life. And this is because we are never meant to live here. So let's take a look at our adrenal glands and what they do. So our adrenal glands are these tiny little glands. They're teeny tiny, and they live above our kidneys. Our kidneys are, and if I was standing, I'd show you, but they're underneath our rib cage. Everything that's important is under your rib cage, and what's not in your rib cage is your small and large intestine. And it doesn't need to be protected because you can lose feet of it and stay alive, but you can't lose your kidneys and your heart and your lungs and your spleen and your liver. So they all live under your rib cage. So that's always how I remember where things are. So your kidneys are right at the bottom of your rib cage in your back, and then your adrenal glands live right above it. And so a symptom of adrenal stress is some pain in your middle and lower back, and that's your adrenals can be your adrenals talking to you. So their job is to produce very certain specific hormones. First one is adrenaline, which is short-term stress. So when you get that hit of adrenaline, it feels really good, but you get powerful. Like this is when you literally could fight off a bear. Is the type of strength you get from adrenaline. It also produces cortisol, and cortisol happens when that stress doesn't go away right away. When it continues for a few hours, few days, few months, then cortisol is running the show. Cortisol also wakes you up in the morning. Cortisol is still in play whenever we're awake. It's just the level of cortisol is determined by the level of stress. It also produces aldosterone, and that it helps balance sodium and potassium. And what you're going to see is the symptoms of low adrenals come out of the jobs it does and whether or not it can do the jobs properly. And then the last job the adrenals do, and it's really at the bottom of its to-do list, is creating androgens or secondary sex hormones. And your adrenal glands produce mostly estrogen and testosterone. When you go through, as a woman, when you go through menopause, if your adrenals are happy, if they're not exhausted, then they make just enough estrogen to help smooth out that transition when your ovaries start shutting down. That's not really happening nowadays because our adrenals are just way too tired. So one of the symptoms of low adrenals is very, very strong menopausal symptoms. But it's also very low sex drive because being fertile and wanting to reproduce is a function of the parasympathetic nervous system. It's in that relaxed state. If an animal is under constant duress, having babies is the last thing it needs to do, so it will also shut down your overall sex drive. Your adrenal glands overall manage your blood pressure, and it manages the changes in your blood pressure. So if you suddenly stand up, your blood pressure has to go up a little bit, and that is managed by your adrenal glands. It also raises your blood pressure when you're under stress. It also manages your blood sugar. It decides how much insulin gets put into your bloodstream. So it's your pancreas that produces the insulin. It's your adrenal glands that turn it off. And it also manages your cholesterol levels. And the reason for that is that if you are under a physical danger, your body would, well, if you're under any kind of danger, but due to physical danger, your adrenal glands will raise your blood pressure. So you have the resources going to your muscles to fight off that bear. It will raise your blood sugar, so you have the energy to fight off that bear or run away. And it will raise your cholesterol level. So if you were to get injured, in either the fight or the flight, you will clot faster. High blood pressure, high blood sugar, and high cholesterol levels are indicative of metabolic syndrome, which is incredibly common nowadays. And most middle-aged people are taking medications for one or all three of those. And that's really simply a chronic stress situation. So this is something to keep in mind as well. If you deal with high blood pressure, if you're dealing with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, or if your cholesterol levels are high, chances are you're living in this stress state as well. So what is the state of your adrenal glands? So these are 5 questions that I ask my clients in an initial consultation, or if they see me in a health food store and they're asking questions about low energy. These are 5 questions that I ask them. If you answer yes to all 5, seeing a natural path and having your cortisol level tested is a very good idea. If you answer yes to 1 or 2, pay good attention to what we're talking about in a few minutes about what to do. If you answer yes to 3 or 4, you need to pay a bit more attention to what we're doing. And then at 5, let's get your cortisol level tested. Chances are your adrenals are really, really tired, and a naturopath can give you a proper diagnosis of adrenal fatigue, as well as give you and help you with very, very specific supplements that can speed this along. But what we're talking about will still help you, so you can start implementing that right away. So the first question: how long does it take for you to feel awake in the morning once you're out of bed and standing? And I should actually extend this to when you're out of bed and standing and can have a polite conversation with people without wanting to rip their heads off. Because many of us can pretend that we can have a conversation, but really in our heads we're like, why are you bugging me? This is a sign of low adrenals if that takes more than 20 to 30 minutes. If you stay groggy for more than 30 minutes, it's a really, really good sign that you're not getting that boost of cortisol you get once you get out of bed and stand. Getting out of bed is its own problem. But once you're standing, then your adrenal glands will should kick out just enough cortisol to wake you up. Do you ever feel dizzy when you go from laying down to standing up quickly? And so this is a sign that your blood pressure isn't moving fast enough. And again, your adrenal glands manage that. Do you crave salt or salty foods? Low adrenals always come with salt cravings, or usually come with salt cravings. Does your blood sugar crash often, which feels like impatience? When you have low blood sugar, then hunger feels immediate. It's demanding. You tend to crave sugary foods, and you need to find food quite quickly. And this, when your adrenals are tired, this can happen even after a beautifully healthy meal without a lot of sugar in it. A whole food meal and still get this blood sugar crash. And that's because your adrenal glands aren't turning off insulin fast enough. They're too tired for that. And the last question, which is a really common one, is do you feel energized around 10 p.m. at night and have trouble sleeping? So for a lot of people, when their adrenals are really tired, they're groggy and tired and feel like they're walking through a foggy soup all day until 10 p.m. hits. And now life is fantastic. And what happens here is that your body shoots up. Instead of reducing cortisol, you get a burst of cortisol, and now you're wide awake, and you're wide awake for hours, and it's the one time of the day that you can do things. Unfortunately, this actually will drain your adrenals even more. But this hit of energy around 10 p.m. is a real strong sign of low adrenal. So take a look at your own self, answer those questions honestly, and then you'll get to know where your adrenals are sitting. The symptoms of adrenal fatigue are tiredness and weakness, just an inability to concentrate, just feeling foggy, cold fingers and toes, Anxiety or depression, especially if it's new, and that, like, if that's not normal for you, that's especially a sign of low adrenal, or it's gotten worse. Constant blood sugar crashes and sugar cravings, salt cravings, and low blood pressure. These are also symptoms of low thyroid. Anybody with hypothyroid was probably going to answer yes to all of those. And the reason is that your adrenal glands and your thyroid not only are working under different nervous systems, but they share the same protein base to make hormones. Because your adrenals are dealing with your life or death, fight or flight, it gets priority. So if your adrenals are using lots and lots of hormones, it's going to use that base protein before your thyroid gets it. So not only is your thyroid not even getting the energy to function because its nervous system is rarely stimulated, it's also not getting the ingredients it needs to make hormones. So for a lot of people, when your adrenal glands are overworked, your thyroid gets low. And so many of you are probably saying, well, now I have low adrenals and low thyroid, and they just simply go together. And as you heal your adrenals, then your thyroid gets happier and happier as well. Naturopathic medicine is also very, very good for both adrenals and thyroid if you're especially at a very severe state. Definitely seek out a great naturopath. Causes of adrenal fatigue is constant, continuous high stress, that stress that never goes away, mostly because of what we're thinking and our worry. Too many stimulants and refined sugar. We're going to talk about that in a second. A lack of sleep, a low quality diet, simply not getting enough nutrients to deal with this constant need for lots of nutrients, as well as chronic inflammation and digestive dysfunction. When you have a chronic illness, this drains your adrenals. So that alone can be one input. And for a lot of people, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. So you have a lot of stress, but then your body breaks down and now there's a chronic condition, and now your adrenals simply can't keep up. A question that came in is whether or not the slides and audio will be available to view after this webinar. I have hit record. So we should have a recording, I'm hoping, at the end so that we can share with everybody. So the adrenal drainers, so these are just simply lifestyle things that drain our adrenals even more than just the stress in our life. The main ones are energy drinks. And this is another reason why I believe the 20-somethings are dealing with such a high level of adrenal fatigue. It's the Red Bull generation. And I have very, very healthy eaters having energy drinks on a day-to-day basis. It's kind of replaced coffee, but drains the adrenals even more than coffee. Coffee is at least a whole food, and these are far from it. Refined sugar is also a big adrenal drainer because it's lacking B vitamins and magnesium. And refined sugar needs both of those to be properly digested. And so it's going to steal it from the body for the digestion. Your adrenal glands need more than anything B vitamins and magnesium, and they'll burn through both of those quite heavily. So when you have a diet of high diet of refined sugar, which is what mine used to be, then your adrenal fatigue or your adrenal strain will just snowball. Junk food, alcohol can do it as well for the same reason. It's using lots and lots of B vitamins to metabolize the alcohol. Junk food, just a general deficient food, needs more nutrients than it's providing for digestion. And skipping breakfast or lunch, those are two issues. One, you're simply not getting the nutrients that you need. If you feel nauseous every morning and breakfast is something you can't even consider, that's fine. Make sure though you're getting some meal by midday. Don't go until 4 or 5 p.m., which is very, very common, before you start eating, because then your body is just taking nutrients all day. It's also an issue with weight gain because you're going to now put all of your food at the end of the day. And so it's just an imbalance in eating. The other issue with skipping breakfast or lunch is that it's usually a sign you're on adrenaline all day. Because when you're in the sympathetic nervous system, your appetite gets pushed down because eating takes so much energy. So it's also a symptom of that adrenaline, just constant adrenaline hits. And your body, when it's really hungry, will also secrete adrenaline to get through. So having some sort of meal earlier in the day is really, really important, but I can't stress enough. If you feel nauseous in the morning, when you first wake up, it's probably not, your digestion hasn't started yet. Don't force food in, but just get some food in earlier. So now we can get to the real hands-on what to do. And as I go through this, please simply pick one or two things that feel that you can really, really do, because adding a stress of trying to do everything perfectly is just going to drain your adrenals even more. So I made all of my dietary and lifestyle changes slower than any person I have ever worked with, and it still worked. So go at your speed. Every single change makes a big, big difference. And each one just simply adds to the next. So just take it at your speed and find something that you really like. So the first one is prioritizing the stress in our life, because we have way too much of it. Is there a stress that you can give up? Is there something that you're doing in your life that is unnecessary? And that could be something like worrying about work on your way to and from work. It can be something like hot yoga, which yoga is wonderfully healing for your adrenals, but hot yoga is actually a drain for your adrenals. So can you switch to a more relaxing activity? Is there a time where you can shut things off? Like maybe by 9 p.m., just have everything shut off. Is there something you can give up that's just unnecessary? One thing that I did is I stopped the constant work. When I work, I really, really work. But when I don't, I really, really don't. So I'm either working or I'm not. Instead of staying in the state of, oh, look, an email came in, let me just check that. Or let me think about this presentation or that presentation. When I'm working, I'm putting all my effort there, but then when I'm not, I'm not. And then can you also look at any unchangeable stress differently? Because it's not the stress that causes the problem, it's our view of that stress. And so can you simply look at something that might cause you worry or strain slightly differently? And just maybe accept it for as it is. If there's a coworker that really, really bothers you, instead of stewing on it, which is really easy to do, instead of let it go and just say, you know what, this is how this person is, I have to work with them. One thing that I've done with coworkers that I've had difficult relationships with is that every day I would add to a list of things that I really appreciated about them. And that really changed our relationship. I was shocked by how well that worked on both ends. They noticed it as well. And it was something that I could do. And it dramatically changed the stress I had in my life. The next one is adding 20 minutes of relaxation in the day. Over the last 2 years, I've added meditation to my life. And in the last 6 months, I've barely missed a day. I just missed 2 this past week, but I was on vacation. So it was kind of okay that I missed those days. But my 3 priorities in my day is to eat well, to sleep, and to meditate. And 20 minutes is my minimum is 15, because that I can rationalize every single day. There's no question that I can find 15 minutes. If I can watch a TV show, I can find 15 minutes. And so that 15 to 20 minutes can be a real key in helping your body move over to the parasympathetic nervous system. And every single minute you spend in that relaxed state, your body will take advantage of it. So if these are the only 15 or 20 minutes that you're relaxed in a day, your body will really love you for it and really, really take advantage of it. And it doesn't need to be meditation. And a lot of people that have a brain like mine, where it's spinning in 1,000 directions all the time, say, I could never meditate. I used to look at my clients that meditated every day with envy and think, oh, I would love to do that. I can do that. I just chose not to at the time. But one of the reasons why I didn't is that I thought that my brain just couldn't calm down. And actually, the purpose of meditation isn't a calm mind. It's calming the mind. So every single time when I'm meditating, my brain starts thinking about something else. The moment I notice that, let it go and come back to calm is training my brain on how to find calm. And at first, I just meditated once or twice a week, and it made a world of difference. Now that I do it every day, it's something I crave. I miss it when it's gone. But even if you're just doing it once in a while, it can make a big, big difference. Time spent in nature is very similar to the effect of meditation. Both of those will dramatically reduce all of your stress hormones the first time you do it. You don't have to be a meditation expert or a nature connoisseur to get the effects of either of these activities. The first time you do them, you get exactly the same effect as somebody who's been meditating for 30 years. It's just wonderful. When you go into nature and you're surrounded by trees, your body can't be stressed anymore, and all of those hormones relax. In Japan, they're doing quite a lot of studies on the effect of nature. Dr. Alan Logan wrote a fantastic book called Your Brain on Nature that goes into this kind of research. And what they started doing in Japan is creating nature bathing zones inside of cities where they have these beautiful places of nature where foliage is completely blocking your view of the city. And that is so helpful for workers that is become a part of their day, because you work a lot better when you have had some of this space and this time in nature. I live in the Okanagan Valley. I lived in Toronto for quite a long time, for 11 years. And now every day, like right now, my view is a lake and some trees, and it really, really makes a difference. So anytime you can find some time for nature, really, really, really helps. Time spent with your kids and your pets, especially when it's happy and joyous. You can't be laughing and be stressed at the same time. So if you see somebody that's under a lot of stress, making them laugh, laughing with them will calm the stress right down. When I work with people with cancer, I've worked in cancer for a few years. One of the jobs I give people that are the support people is to create laughter and make everybody laugh. An enjoyable book can also be a really great way to relax. And being in bed by 10 p.m. is a big deal. So in the dark by 10 will stop that cortisol release. And you might think, well, that's the only time I get anything done. Try to get in bed by 9, be reading a book, having the lights out by 10. Even if you're not sleeping, your body needs the darkness, and that can really, really help your overall stress level. Looking at food cravings and what they mean can also really help your body find some balance. So if you're really craving refined sugar and sugary treats, then your blood sugar's out of balance. So what we need to do is find some balance. Add protein and fat to meals so you don't have these crashes, and that will really reduce your refined sugar cravings, and that means you'll eat healthier and stop draining your adrenals as much. Chocolate, wonderfully, is a sign of a magnesium deficiency, and dark chocolate is a great source of magnesium. Magnesium, when you're low in it, you get very tense, very, very tense, tight muscles. Taking magnesium as a supplement, enjoying raw cacao or dark chocolate, that's my favorite way of getting magnesium, can really, really help. And if you crave salt, your body needs salt, sea salt preferably. Salt helps bring up your blood pressure if your blood pressure is really low. And adding sea salt to your diet is probably one of the most common things I do to add to people's diet. If you crave salt, and you eat a fairly healthy diet, you can simply use that salt craving to determine how much salt you need. If you have a Boston Pizza taste buds or McDonald's taste buds, we need to get onto a more whole food diet before you can do that. But if you cook at home mostly, if you eat mostly healthy food, then you can add salt to your diet, sea salt, to your taste, and you'll feel so much better. It can really reduce anxiety in particular. Salt cravings and anxiety always go hand in hand. You want to be adding nutrient-dense food. So before you consider removing things out of your diet, look at adding, because when you add, that will take the place of some of the less nutrient-dense foods. So then that means they're easier to get rid of. But if you just remove your favorite nutrient-poor foods, your favorite junk foods, now there's a hole. And that hole is stressful. So add foods, then remove. Always do it that way. One of the most nutrient-dense foods and the healthiest foods you can put into your body is a homemade bone stock, like a homemade chicken stock. It's incredibly digestively healing, but feeds the body with minerals and easy to digest protein like no other food. If you're really at a state of adrenal fatigue, making some stock and enjoying it every day, either in soups, sipping a mug of it, making rice with it, or quinoa with it as the water, just get it in. It really makes a big difference. And you can make any food, chicken, beef, fish, doesn't matter. Just that stock is important. Veggie stock is also really good. because when you boil down vegetables, the minerals are like rocks and they just fall into the water. And so drinking veggie stock, which is also called pot liquor. Pot liquor is when you steam vegetables or you boil vegetables, those minerals that fall in is just such a healing food that many people consume it on a regular basis. It used to be the healing food that you would bring to sick people in your community. So making vegetable stocks, especially if you're a vegetarian and the idea of bone stock is something that you just can't get your head around, that's fine. Make some veggie stocks. If you are good with a bone stock, making a veggie bone stock, so you're making a stock with vegetables in it as well, really can just up the level of it. Eating lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of fruits and vegetables, preferably cooked. Raw vegetables are very hard to digest. It's very hard to get the minerals out of them. In every traditional diet, cooked foods are the healing foods. So lots and lots of fruits and vegetables, and cook your veggies, steam them, make soups out of them. That will let you get more minerals out of them. And then juicing. There's a time and a place for juicing. This is one of them. So you want to juice in-season food, more vegetables than fruit, and add a teaspoon of olive oil for absorption. And make sure there's still some fiber in it. So if you're a juicer, take all the fiber out, add some fiber back in. And that can just be a fantastic multivitamin and mineral supplement. It really, really helps. I juice when I travel because that's when my diet gets a bit poor and my stress level goes up. And I do quite a lot of touring and traveling as a lecturer. So that's when I bring in juicing. I don't juice on a day-to-day basis because I don't feel well if I juice every single day. But when I juice when I need it, it makes a world of difference. It really, really helps. And then I want to spend just a few minutes talking about some adrenal supportive supplements. Supplements are a really great, easy first step. And Greens Plus, which is what we're going to be talking about first, was my very first healthy thing I ever did. My diet was atrocious. I've never worked with anybody with a diet as bad as mine used to be. And I was really foggy. I was really tired. I was full of inflammation. And this combination of Greens Plus and a fish oil made a humongous difference in my health. And it triggered a craving for healthy food. And that helped me make my diet healthier and healthier. Greens Plus Extra Energy is one of my absolute favorite supplements. I took it this morning. And then Omega-3 Plus Joy is one of my most recommended supplements to my clients. So let's take a look at both of those. So we're going to start with Greens Plus Extra Energy, which gives you energy without being a drain on your adrenals. So what it is a base of Greens Plus. And my favorite quote for Greens Plus is that it gives you the energy to do the things you want to do after the things you have to do. So most of us simply get through our day and do all the things on our to-do list that were on fire, that we absolutely had to do, but to actually spend time with our family or go to the gym or enjoy a hike in nature, something we simply don't have the energy for. And that's what Greens Plus really can give you, is just that balance of energy, so you have enough to do the extra things that just put the icing on the cake of your day. It's also the antioxidant equivalent of 6 servings of vegetables, and many of us simply aren't eating enough antioxidants and vegetables, and is a whole food supplement. So it's giving you food. This is why it triggered a craving for healthy food in me. It's very, very high in chlorophyll, so I wanted green things. My body said, ooh, chlorophyll is good for you. Let's have more. And so it's a great way to give yourself energy, to alkalize your body, and it's been clinically proven to increase energy. So then what they did is they took Greens Plus and made it a better energy supplement with Greens Plus Extra Energy. So they added some additional energy ingredients. The first one they added was cola nut, which is a natural form of caffeine. Caffeine found in energy drinks is a significant drain to the adrenal glands. Coffee is a moderate drain to the adrenal glands. Cola nut has barely a drain to the adrenal glands. If your adrenals are absolutely exhausted, caffeine will do nothing for you, and you shouldn't have any. But anytime before that, cola nut can be absolutely fine in moderation, and that's what a serving of Greens Plus gives you. Greens Plus Extra Energy gives you. So there's about 80 milligrams of caffeine found naturally in this whole food of cola nut, and it's an adaptogenic herb, which helps your body adapt to stress. And there's a few other adaptogenic herbs in this product. And this helps tone the nervous system instead of draining the nervous system. It's mixed with taurine at exactly the same combination as Red Bull, but without the highly refined ingredients in the drain. And taurine is really just great for physical and mental energy. It's great for athletes. It helps with muscular endurance and energy, and just helps you be more resilient. I used to take Greens Plus Extra Energy before I was an avid rock climber, and that was something I had to give up because the stress in my life didn't allow to have two very stressful activities. I was starting a business. But I loved rock climbing when my lifestyle accommodated it, and I used Greens Plus Extra Energy as a great way to not only push myself in my workout, but also I recovered faster than anybody that I worked with. It also has many other herbs, Gautucola, which helps with mental fatigue, so it keeps your brain going, vitamin B6, which helps produce GABA. GABA is very important, in particular with anxiety. It calms the brain when it's overstimulated. Rhodiola and astragalus are adaptogenic herbs, which help deal with the negative effects of mental and physical stress. They really help your body change gears easily, deal with the day-to-day inputs of stress. I love rhodiola. Rhodiola gives me patience, and it helps my body recover when I've been going through a lot of stress. And lastly, chromium, which is an essential mineral and is really important for blood sugar. It's great it's in this product because our blood sugar mechanism starts breaking down when we're under chronic stress, and this just helps our body deal with insulin and blood and sugar a lot better. So that's Greens Plus Extra Energy. So what it does is gives you a constant, steady energy through the day. Greens Plus gives you the long-term energy, and the extra energy ingredients gives you immediate energy. So you feel that boost right away, but it keeps you going all day without draining the body. It's really, to me, fantastic supplement. Omega-3 Plus Joy is probably by far my most recommended supplement in my practice. And it's a supplement that I have a file on in my email of the most heartbreaking, tear-jerking testimonials. What this is simply a fish oil. That's all it is. It's high in EPA and low in DHA. And if you look on any fish oil supplement, you'll see the levels of EPA and DHA. So this is almost all EPA and very, very little DHA. And this provides the ability for EPA to shine. EPA and DHA will compete for receptor sites. So if you have them both at the same level, you never really get to see either of them and what they do to a really high level. But if you have lots and lots of EPA and very low DHA, then EPA gets to do what it really does well, and it does two things incredibly well. The first one it does is allows your neurotransmitter, in particular serotonin, to move between your brain cells easier. This provides a clinically proven improvement in mood. It helps with depression, and it even helps with seasonal mood changes. It's just fish oil. It's a really great place to start. I use this with my clients when mood is getting in their way of taking care of themselves. When their mood is so low that they're lethargic, and cooking and eating and just doing things for themselves just is something they're having trouble with. I also use this a lot for my teenage and late teens, early 20s clients that are really quite depressed, that when they come to see me, because they're forced to see me usually, they're not making eye contact, they're so tired, and I find a miraculous difference a couple weeks in on it. It also, the other thing that EPA does really, really well is it provides a potent anti-inflammatory, and chronic inflammation is a huge problem in all chronic illnesses, including depression. Depression is actually an inflammatory condition, but so is heart disease, and diabetes, and cancer. And so are all arthritis, all the itises. And so this provides this potent anti-inflammatory. If you're concerned with getting enough DHA, don't be too worried, because EPA will convert into DHA to the amount you need it. So you'll still get what your body needs of DHA, but you're allowing EPA to shine. So this is the main fish oil I tend to recommend, because most people who are asking me about fish oil are either dealing with an inflammatory issue or a mood issue. And just a couple weeks on this can make a big, big difference. You can go on and off it as much as you want. I use this, depression is where my brain goes. Our brain tends to go either down in depression or up in anxiety, and some of us flip back and forth. Mine tends to go low. So I use this to get out of the basement. So if my mood is going low, it doesn't get so low that I have trouble functioning. So I can deal with what's happening emotionally, without feeling so lethargic that I don't want to take care of myself. And it's simply fish oil. I just love it. This combination of Greens Plus Extra Energy and Omega-3 Plus Joy can be so helpful in healing from adrenal fatigue. The lifestyle stuff I gave you is also really, really important. These are simply some easy steps that you can take right away. And if you're dealing with low mood along with adrenal fatigue, I really, really highly recommend Omega-3 Plus Joy because it can just make a big difference. Don't mix this with other fish oils, though. That's important because you want that in balance. You want that high EPA and low DHA. So just if you're taking fish oil, just take this one. So that's the entire presentation. Thank you so much for those of you who are short on time. Thank you for joining us. We had well over 100 people today. So thank you for taking your time out on your Saturday. I'm now going to open the floor up for questions, and I already see them coming in. So please start writing your questions in the chat. And right now I'm going to change the way the meeting is going so you can unmute yourself. So if you want to ask a question, then you can go in.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Okay, so now you can at any time unmute yourself, but I'm going to start with the questions that are coming in. The first one from Pauline is Omega-3 Plus Joy shows 2,000 EPA and 500 DHA. Are you recommending the minimum? How much omega-3? So what you want is generally about 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of EPA and as low DHA as possible. So the DHA in Omega-3 Plus Joy is actually 25 milligrams. So you'd be getting in 4 capsules, 200 milligrams of EPA and 100 of DHA. That is great for a larger person. So about 200-pound person plus, the 4 a day is great. If you're below that, if you're in the 150-pound zone, somewhere in there, if you have moderate to mild inflammation, then 2 a day can work really well. Your diet will also determine how much fish oil you need. So what I usually recommend is start with 2, see how you feel. After you've been doing that for about a week, go up to 4. If you feel better, 4 is your dose. If you don't, if some inflammation has come back, that can mean you have too much fish oil. Go off it for a few days, come back at 2. I used to need 4. Now, because my diet is so much better, now I take 1. So there's a big difference in how much I need simply because my diet has improved. My diet has improved a lot. I do what I say now, but it's taken me 12 years to get there. The next question is from Rixta. Oh, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Is it okay to take omega-3s with blood thinners? Will it cause your blood to be thinner? As a nutritionist, I can't give you that official answer. You want to be checking with your pharmacist. As a general statement, though, fish oils will cause mild blood thinning. And for moderate blood thinners, that's usually okay. If you're on warfarin, definitely check with your pharmacist. But before taking any supplements, check with a good pharmacist. A pharmacist that carries supplements will always know if medications can be mixed. And fish oil is so common. They don't need to know whether or not this high EPA, low DHA is an issue. Really, it's simply fish oil. So if you can take fish oil with your medications, it's okay, but check with your pharmacist. The next question is Greens Plus Extra Energy vegan, or is there a vegan version? Greens Plus Extra Energy is vegetarian. It's not vegan. There is royal jelly and bee pollen in it, which is a bee product, as well as the probiotics, the good bacteria in it. It was grown on a dairy base. So on the other ingredients, you'll see skim milk. There is absolutely no milk in it. I have a severe dairy allergy, and there's never been a problem with me taking Greens Plus. But it is an ingredient of an ingredient, and this makes it non-vegan. There is a vegan form of Greens Plus called Greens Plus O, as well as a fermented version called fermented Greens Plus Whole Body Nutrition. Both of those are vegan, and then you can get the extra energy ingredients in pill form. I can't say for sure if those are 100% vegan, but you can check with the customer service at Genuine Health, and they would be able to give you that information. But that's one way to deal with the non-vegan issue with the original form of Greens Plus. So just in a nutshell, the original Greens Plus is not vegan, but it is vegetarian, and that is due to bee pollen, royal jelly, and the human strain probiotics, which is also not vegan, is grown on a dairy base. So the next question is from Shelley. Is there a difference between the pills or the powder? For Greens Plus Extra Energy, that you can only get that in a powder. You can get Greens Plus, the original formula, in pills, but it takes 12 a day, and that's hard on the body to digest it. So if you have to take the pills, that's one way to get around it. The Extra Energy ingredients also come in pill form, and they work just as well. Powder, though, the Greens Plus Extra Energy as a powder, it's a food, and your body understands it as food. It tastes quite good. It's orange and cappuccino. So both flavors taste really good, and they're fully guaranteed. So if you find you can't take it at all, then you can always bring it back. Generally, I like my supplements as food. Omega-3 Plus Joy, you can get either in a capsule or a liquid, and go with which one you prefer. The capsule will stay fresher. And that can be the easiest for people. From Helen in Toronto, she's been taking the original for 22 years. Oops, I just lost it. Let me just scroll up. Let me find it again. Where are you, Helen? I think it's, I've been taking the alfalfa tasting Greens Plus every morning with few exceptions. Are you suggesting you replace it with the Extra Energy product? Can you get the original taste or only in flavor? So the Greens Plus alone is beautiful stuff, and you can still take the unflavored, and if you want that energy boost, if you want those added adaptogens, you can get the Extra Energy ingredients in a tablet form. The Greens Plus Extra Energy only comes in flavors, mostly because most people only want the flavors. I now live in BC, and in BC, they love the unflavored everything. But I'm from Ontario, where I like everything sweet. So, there is a difference in taste buds on either side of the country. So you can either, if you're happy with Greens Plus, keep doing that. It's really helpful for the body. But if you want that added boost to the energy ingredients, if that is something you're interested in because you're feeling tired all the time, if you're drinking a lot of coffee, then you can simply get the capsule or the tablet form of the Extra Energy ingredients. The next one is from Jania from Wasaga Beach. I used to hang out there when I was a kid. I love Wasaga Beach. What is your opinion on thyroid and greens like cabbage? So if you have low thyroid, you need to watch out for raw cruciferous vegetables. There is an issue that raw cruciferous vegetables can lower the thyroid at very large amounts. A colleague of mine having 2 cups of raw broccoli a day did have diagnosable thyroid issue after doing that for a few months. So to be safe, you simply want to steam your cruciferous vegetables, including cabbage. So that would be broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, kale. Don't do those raw, do those steamed. And then you don't have to worry about your thyroid at all. The greens and Greens Plus doesn't have that issue. There is some broccoli and broccoli sprouts in the Greens Plus O, the vegan form. That's not the case for Greens Plus Extra Energy, and it's at a low dose. So you don't have to worry about that one. Next one is from Marna, and she has a NutriBullet. In my opinion, she should be lightly steaming the greens to get the full benefits. Yes, actually, you should, or you could. I don't like the word should. When the NutriBullet will break down those cell walls, which will help you digest them. But if you lightly steam them or blanch them quickly, so what you can do is blanch big batches and throw them in the freezer. That will open up those cell walls and make it a bit more easier to break down those nutrients. And if you have a thyroid problem, would get rid of that goitrogen, which is what lowers your thyroid. But at the same time, do what works. And if you can lightly steam them, throw them in the freezer, then that really does help. Debbie is asking if there's going to be access to this link later. I really hope so. I did record this. We'll also be repeating this in the future. In the next month or so, we'll be doing another webinar with this presentation. But I'm hoping the recording will work really well and we'll have this out for everybody. Pauline from West Kelowna, I live in Peachland, just next door to West Kelowna, is asking, can you mix it with water, juice? You can mix it with anything. You can throw it in a smoothie. You can mix it with water. You can mix it with juice. Drinking juice is something I don't always recommend, so water would be better, but you can throw it in anything. You just want to mix it with a liquid. Linda is asking, she just found her Greens Plus container in the cabinet with an expiry date of January 2013. Can I still use this? I would say no, because you're now 2 years past the expiry date. Generally, Greens Plus is tested for a year past the expiry date, and that's okay. And if you don't put it in the fridge, you've lost some of the potency. Over that amount of time, you've lost quite a lot of it. It doesn't go bad, though, but you will have lost the potency. But being in the cupboard and 2 years past the expiry date, I'd say getting a fresh container is a good idea. Thank you all for such great comments as well. So let me move to the next question. Sheila, is the omega-3 oil a substitute or replacement for cod liver oil? The answer, Sheila, is a yes and no. It's a replacement for the EPA, DHA fish oil side of your cod liver oil, but it doesn't have the vitamin A and vitamin D that your cod liver oil has. But for the omega-3 plus joy to work well, you need to only take that. So you want to choose what's more important to you. Do you want that vitamin A and vitamin D, or are you looking for the mood supportive inflammatory support? So that's a choice for you to make. But they are slightly different. Sherry is asking, do you recommend taking Greens Plus first thing in the morning or mid-afternoon for an energy boost? And the answer is yes. First thing in the morning is a great time for Greens Plus. I used to take it mid-afternoon. You want to watch, because it's going to give you an energy boost if you're really sensitive to caffeine, or any type of boost, not to take it too late, because it might affect your sleep. So I'd say mid-afternoon would be the latest, but if you have trouble drinking coffee afternoon, don't drink this afternoon, have it in the morning. But I used to do it, I still do it frequently, first thing in the morning, and then either mid-morning or mid-afternoon. I have a mild Greens Plus addiction. I tend to take it quite a lot. Let's see. There's some other really great comments. Thanks so much. Alcina is asking from Mississauga. I've been recently adding a teaspoon of spirulina. Is that sufficient in the morning? Is this sufficient greens? Spirulina is fantastic. Greens Plus also provides spirulina. It's a great blue-green algae, and it can be very, very helpful. Greens Plus just gives you more than just spirulina, but a teaspoon of spirulina is great. It just won't give you the added extra energy things that we spoke about. Darian is asking, can you repeat the effects of EPA and serotonin? Absolutely. So what happens when we take high EPA fish oil is the cell walls of our neurotransmitters, which are our brain cells, or our neurons, the cell walls of our neurons, our brain cells, become much more pliable. And this allows our neurotransmitters, and those are our brain chemicals, what we use for mood.
Well, that didn't maximize the thing. I don't want.
They're able.
This is not working here.
Neurons better. Somebody who's
First of all, I guess I don't have a microphone, so it's not.
So whoever's just talking, if you don't mind muting yourself. So what happens with the high EPA fish oil is the neurons become so much more pliable that neurotransmitters move back and forth better, and that allows a much higher boost in your mood. And so that's what happens when you take high EPA fish oil. So all of your neurotransmitters should be able to move back and forth better, but the research really shows that serotonin is much more potent, or works much better that way. The next one from Sarah is, I keep my Greens Plus in the fridge. Is it okay to keep it? Yes, I bring it to work with me. It won't go bad. It loses potency at about 5% a month, mostly in the probiotics. So if you get a container and it's a 1 month supply and you take it every day and you leave it on your desk, that's fine. And the most important thing is to take it, having it out where you can see it. It can be really helpful. For the best potency, though, you want to keep it in the fridge. Would Greens Plus replace a multivitamin? No, it's different than a multivitamin. So it doesn't have the vitamins and minerals you get in a multivitamin, but it's a whole food supplement. So I use it instead of a multivitamin, but it isn't the same. You can get a product called Greens Plus Multi Plus, which is a potent multivitamin with Greens Plus. I think we have a couple people who want to ask questions, so I'll just pause for a second. Is there anybody who wants to ask a question?
While I'm on this, whatever she was called, is that the one I got a reminder of that listed in. Yeah, it was the green.
Hello? Okay, I'm going to keep asking questions. You might want to type it into the chat. It doesn't seem like the asking questions over is working. Let's see. Oh, there's some great reviews. Thank you so much. Would acid reflux, for those with an acid reflux problem, would Greens Plus aggravate it? It's from Pauline. Usually not, but everybody's a little different. So I'm actually going to change the presentation again and mute everybody again, just because it doesn't seem to be working. Asking questions. So I'm going to put it back to listen.
All attendees are muted.
So if you have a question, please just write it in the chat, and I'll be able to answer it that way, because it just doesn't seem to be working to ask it. So where are we? Will it aggravate acid reflux? Generally, no. Generally, it's fine on the stomach, but some people, their acid reflux is aggravated by allergens, and Greens Plus is very, very low in what most people are allergic to, but all I'm saying is that for a very, very, very small percentage of people, it's still a possibility. That being said, it's fully guaranteed. So if you have it and you buy it and you take it and it makes you get a lot of acid reflux, and you can bring it back to the store you got it from, or call the 1-800 number on the product, and you'll get a full refund, which is what I love about the product. Let's see. The next one is from Brad. He loves Greens Plus, 18 years and strong. Go, Brad. Concerned about the source of the individual amino acids. I know Genuine Health stance on non-GMO is strong, but I am of the understanding that much of these are derived from corn. I wonder, can you verify the sources being non-GMO? Greens Plus, I worked for Genuine Health in their customer service 13 years ago. And then at that time, the stance on, or the talk about GMO was very, very low, but we were still getting that as a question. I have a cat who's about to walk past. That's Sam. Come down here. And what I found out then is Greens Plus was tested regularly for GMO, GMO residue, because there is some non-GMO soy in it, and that was the concern at the time. So they are very, very specific on their sourcing to make sure it's non-GMO. They're also a B Corp, which means they have a third-party watchdog to make sure that they are helping the environment and the community. The B Corp status is amazing, but will take me a few minutes to talk about, so I'll skip that. But it is quite remarkable that they're a B Corp. But as of 12 or 13 years ago, it was being tested regularly. I know that is still happening. So while they're also testing each individual ingredient for quality and non-GMO status, they're also testing the entire product. And that's something you can really rely on with Genuine Health. You can also call their customer service anytime. They are open weekdays, and there's a live chat on their website, and you can find out directly from them how they're testing it. But when I had to look it up, when I was working in customer service a long time ago, we were testing it, and that was when I first heard about GMOs, and they were testing it long before it even was something I was aware of. Let's see, somebody was asking, could you put on back on mute? And I have, thank you for that recommendation. Simon from Fort Langley is taking the whole body, which is the fermented form of greens. What is the plus and the minus over the energy ones? I've taken Greens Plus for over 20 years. Started getting a skin reaction. So sometimes we can have an allergic reaction to something that we do over and over and over again. It's really quite rare for Greens Plus, but the original does have the bee pollen and the royal jelly, which can help people with allergies, but for some it can cause a reaction. I love the fermented whole body. It is a full serving of Greens Plus. Simply doesn't have the energy ingredients. So one option is, if you're happy with what you're taking, keep doing it. If you want that added boost of energy, then you can get the tablet form of the energy ingredients and take it along with it. The fermented version is fantastic for the digestive system. I just absolutely love it. Right today, what I do is I take 1 scoop of the fermented whole body nutrition, and then I take half a scoop of Greens Plus Extra Energy, and that's my combo. But Simon, if you were having a skin reaction with the original Greens Plus, then that will probably be the case with the Greens Plus Extra Energy. And so for you, taking the tablet form of the extra energy ingredients would be a good idea. Let's see. I think that's all for the questions. Thank you so much for joining me. My email address, if you have questions following this, you can find me on my website actually at eatmorerealfood.com, and there you can send me an email through there. I do regular presentations all around, mostly Western Canada, and you'll see dates there, as well as I'll be doing this webinar again with Genuine Health. My cat wants to say hi. Thank you so much for taking time out in your day. My name is Lisa Kilgore, owner of eatmorerealfood.com, and please don't hesitate to contact me if a question comes up later. Feel free to contact the customer service at Genuine Health if you have any product questions. Contact me if you have questions on the presentation, and I'm happy to help you move forward and feel better. It's such a concern when your adrenals are so low because it affects you every day. So I do hope that you're feeling better soon if you're feeling these symptoms, and I hope you join me again for a future presentation. And please let your friends and colleagues know that we will be repeating this presentation and hopefully have a recording out after this is done. So thank you so much for joining me this Saturday morning, and I hope you have a lovely day.